So I'm replaying Resident Evil 0, and while I'm replaying it, trying to figure out why I don't like it as much as other classic Resident Evil games, I'm thinking, does fixed camera angle deserve to be buried with Resident Evil? Because this was the last main fixed camera angle Resident Evil game we got. Now, if you know me, you know I'm more of a, I'd rather play Resident Evil 4 style. Like, that's just my go-to style of Resident Evil. Give me over the shoulder, give me a bit more action, a little less puzzle. But it's not always about me, is it? It's about the fan base. The fan base likes this type of stuff. And honestly, I grew up on this type of stuff. I played Resident Evil in '96. I've been there from the beginning. I loved it all the way up until a certain point, and I just kind of accepted that Resident Evil changed. And I like the change. I'm not against the change. I used to fight the change for so long. So I totally understand when there's a lot of people out there who are just like, fixed camera angle supremacy. I totally get it because I used to be here. Totally understand it. But yeah, if you like content like this, make sure you subscribe, because we're going to be talking about Resident Evil and other styles of horror game that will allow you to fight back, because personally, that's my style of horror game. I cannot stand hide and seek horror. I got no time for it. It's let me shoot stuff, let me combat the evil. Otherwise, I ain't got time for you. But yeah, if you're into those types of horror games, don't forget to subscribe. But yeah, I'm thinking, should we bring fixed camera angle back, and how do we bring it back? Because let's be real here. While I'm playing Zero, I'm thinking, has this style of Resident Evil ever peaked? Is there ever a peak? This still plays exactly the same as Resident Evil 1, 1996. Still item management, still fixed camera angle, still tank control, still RNG combat, still door transitions. Nothing's different. It's all the same. The only things that have changed is better visuals, better animations, better voice acting. It's just churning out the same style of game over and over again. Now, I get it. You're going to be going, yeah, but that's why we got Resident Evil 4. It evolved the formula. I don't class Resident Evil 4 is one of my all-time favorite games, if not my all-time favorite game. It is not a survival horror game. I'll stand by that. It is an action horror game through and through. Resident Evil 0 wasn't the last time we got survival horror, because I still stand by Resident Evil 2 Remake is survival horror. Resident Evil 7 is survival horror. Resident Evil 8, it's on the line, but you get my point. 7, 2, those are definite survival horror games. They're just not fixed camera angle. They have a completely different camera system. I'm talking about fixed camera angle. Can we go back to it? Can we evolve it and change it in some way? We've seen attempts at this. Resident Evil 3.5 existed at one point. That was what 4 was going to become. And that used to change the camera system. Honestly, I love the look of that game. I'm not sure if it would work though, because it's quite jarring going from fixed camera angle. You're getting the great atmosphere of these types of games, that someone's watching me, but then if it would switch to over the shoulder so you can fight like Resident Evil 4, maybe a little bit slower because it needs to be that style. You know, more exploration, less combat. Could it work with some polish? It's not the only game to do it. There's a game called Cold Fear, which was on the PS2, was on the original Xbox. I'm pretty sure it's on PC. That game did that style. It did. It had fixed camera angle, and then you could just hold a button and you go in over the shoulder. You could even move and shoot in that game. It wasn't done particularly well. It wasn't. But I feel like if Capcom took a stab at that style, I feel like they would nail it. Capcom always delivers. They couldn't mess that up. I couldn't imagine they could mess that up. But would it work? Does it kind of defeat the purpose of fixed camera angles? Do we still need door transitions? Door transitions add so much to the creepy factor, the atmosphere. You don't know what you're going into. You're walking into the darkness. But at the end of the day, it is a loading screen and it does break immersion. If you could just open a door and walk into the next section. Maybe you could hear things behind the door. You know, it's just... And then it's like, is it just playing like Resident Evil 2 Remake with fixed camera angles? Like, where are we going with this? You know, I don't have all the answers, but it's just something I'm thinking about, where I just don't think this style of survival horror peaked. I just don't. I feel like we were going somewhere with it. We were perfecting it, but we never evolved it into something else. It always stayed the same from day one. Nothing truly changed. We had better controls and whatnot. It was a tighter experience, but it was still the same experience. It wasn't different enough where it was evolved. I don't want it to... If we bring this style back, I don't need it to become an action game. I don't need you to push it into Devil May Cry levels, because obviously the Devil May Cry is fixed camera angle. People forget this. And obviously Devil May Cry was Resident Evil 4 at one point, but I don't need it to become that. I don't need it to become Resident Evil 4. I've got my action horror. I don't need it to evolve that much. It just needs to do something else with it. And with technology these days, especially imagine if you did pre-rendered backgrounds on today's technology. Imagine the detail and animation quality that could get into the character models. It would be insane. It would. But at the same time, with the way technology is, do you even need to do pre-rendered backgrounds? Everything looks so photorealistic anyway with graphics these days, so detailed and whatnot. You could really do something with a camera system where you don't need to do pre-rendered backgrounds. Hell, you do pre-rendered backgrounds, you can't do 3.5. It just doesn't work. There's got to be a way to find a middle ground with it. But I don't have the answers. Maybe you do. If you think fixed camera angle Resident Evil needs to come back, sound off in the comments, let me know. And how would you evolve it? Because it can't just be the same. If it comes back, something's got to change, and I just don't know what it is without messing with the atmosphere, man. You gotta really take some time to think about this. But yeah, I know there's some fixed camera angle supremacy fans on this channel, so you guys let me know how you feel down below. Alright people, that's all I got. I'll catch you later.